everybody. Welcome back to the next episode of Extra Time, the U.S. Men's Soccer Podcast. I'm here with my brother Ryan Greenberg. Ryan, let's get right into it. Result 3-0 over Honduras. It's not a shock to anybody, I don't think. So just tell me your thoughts.
The U.S. came out strong. They looked a lot better they looked the same, in all honesty, in their game against Canada, in this game against Honduras. The only difference is they were able to find the back of the net, which we didn't do against Canada. I thought we played just as well, if not maybe a little bit better. The only difference, we excelled on set pieces in this game. And I don't know if that's because of some of the changes that had to get made in the lineup. It could also just be because Honduras is a little worse. So, yeah, okay, we scored on set pieces, but does that really mean anything against a team that was mathematically already eliminated?
Well, and you heard the commentators talk about it. Right, we looked at it. Personally, I don't think 76th is like a terrible ranking, but obviously, like, it's 76th. It's not good. We knew Honduras wasn't going to make the World Cup. This is a poor squad from Honduras. Honduras typically hasn't looked this poor in their previous World Cup campaigns. So, did that have any factor in what you saw?
Obviously it has a factor. If the defense plays poorly, the U.S. gets better chances and makes it look like we're playing better. But as much as there probably was some of that, I still think the U.S. has played one of the best games they've played. Like, the game against Canada, they played very well. I understand we lost, and all the articles you'll read will say we got absolutely stomped by Canada, which is not true. But this game, we just seemed to be able to find what was missing in the last couple of games. Like, we have our forward scoring. Like, I know Weston McKennie's a midfielder, but he's still very strong on set pieces. He was able to find the back of the net on an unbelievable header in the 8th minute.
Right. And that ball coming from and I'm going to say, so the ball coming from Kellen Acosta, right? I'm not about to take any credit away from Kellen Acosta. All of our goals are on set pieces. He took all of our set pieces, right? So it doesn't matter if you're like me, how you feel about him, right? My old view of Kellen Acosta was that this guy can't be on the roster. I can't handle this guy, right? Nations Cup, Gold Cup roll around. Guy plays pretty well, right?
Yep.
I'm not thrilled, but I'm impressed. In the last couple games that I've gotten to watch him, I've settled into this mentality. Offensively, I like him. I think he does the thing that the USA is missing, right? He plays the ball into the box. He goes forward. We saw that in the Canada game when Weston McKennie finally hit a chance up, right? And Pepe had to try to, not Pepe, Areola goes for that bike, right? When the ball goes into the box and we service it in there, we have chances, right? Even in Canada's game when we played a direct ball through to Aronson and he took a touch and hit it on his left foot, right? And it was a nice shot. Here we have Kellen Acosta from a decent spot, right? The other team has conceded a free kick. Your coach is saying, I need a dangerous ball, right?
And you get it. You get just that.
And a dangerous ball is exactly what he hit. It's got to beat the first defender, and it's got to land somewhere in the box that's tough for the defenders to get to, and the goalie can't get to it, and it's perfect. Weston McKennie does great. We saw it again with the Walker Zimmerman goal, another corner kick with the ball just dropping down to Pulisic. So, Kellen Acosta did exactly what we needed him to, and I agree with you. Like, it was a very similar game play wise, but we got the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, and I think it shows the US's strength that we're bigger and stronger than most teams we play against. So balls that are played into like on the Walker Zimmerman goal. Okay, could there have been a foul there? Maybe.
It was close. Right? I know that was something when you and I were watching it together. That's what we said. Like, when we first saw it, we're like, goal. And then we started seeing the replays, and we were like, ooh, this might get called back.
And you also have to think there's also just the Walker Zimmerman's was at least 6 inches taller than that guy.
Oh, huge. Zimmerman's like a tree out there.
And he's a lot stronger than that guy. So even if it's like, it could have just been just a light touch and that guy could fall over because they're moving, could be off balance. So there might not have actually been anything into it. And VAR looked at it and said there wasn't, so the goal stood. So part of me wants to think it's just our guys are bigger, and you can see that all the time. Like, Weston McKennie can just take the ball from people in the midfield. Mm-hmm. And most of the time legally by just getting in the way because
Right.
he's bigger and he just can outmuscle people off the ball. Walker Zimmerman can do it.
Walker Zimmerman stepped up and won that tackle
Yep.
on a counterattack. Honduras counterattacking. He won the ball at like the midfield line. That was a brave challenge, and it was one of those where I panicked for a second because that's like you have to win that ball. That if that guy beats you, you're the last defender, and he made it look easy.
Yeah. And all of our guys like that. Both Robinsons on defense are very good at.
Serginho Dest coming back in and taking the ball. Yep.
And another thing the U.S. is very good at is taking those fouls that aren't aggressive enough to warrant a yellow card, but enough to slow the game down.
We do. We got a lot of players that understand professional fouls, right?
Yes.
They foul them hard. They get them on the ground. The referee has to have a word with them, but there's nothing in it, right? We're not doing studs. We're not pulling jerseys, we're just dragging guys down.
But I think the reason the U.S. started to excel in that game against Honduras is we started using our size and our strength to our advantage, and all of those balls into the box, like, okay, yes, the second two on corners aren't immediate goals. Like, the ball has to hit the ground first. But look at how much space the guys, our players created for themselves. Walker Zimmerman gets that guy out of the way, has a beautiful shot into the corner, celebrates like he's never scored a goal before, which, he's only got 3.
He's a center back, so it's appropriate, right?
Yeah. And then same with Christian's goal, right? The ball gets played in, it hits, and it drops, and there's no one near him because he's just used his, he might not be the strongest guy out there, but he's fitter, he's faster, and he just uses that to get open, and the ball's on his foot, and he's unmarked.
Right. And that goes to, and briefly, obviously we're not going to talk about this point. We had enough of it in the last video, right? The misconception that our media has, and just
correct
the horrible approach that they want to take. So putting all of that aside, right? Everything you've heard about Christian Pulisic, put it aside. He's a striker. A striker's job is to score goals when they're given an opportunity. The ball dropped to Christian Pulisic. This was his second touch, right? So it's the first clear-cut opportunity he's given in this game, and he doesn't make a mistake. Hits the ball right on the ground through a defender's legs, and it goes right in the corner, right? It doesn't matter that it's 2-0. It doesn't matter that it's against Honduras. That ball
3-0.
could drop or 3. No, but I'm saying at the time it was 2-0, right? Yeah,
correct.
3-0. So it doesn't matter who we were playing against. It matters that a chance was given to him, and he knocked the ball in the back of the net, and that has been something that the U.S. has struggled to do. First to create those chances, second to put them in.
And later in the game, you see another prime example of the ball falling to a striker's foot and needing to score. So the goal obviously gets taken back because Aronson at the start of the play is offside.
But it was a great build-up from there, though.
Yes, it's a great build-up. Aronson plays a ball in to Roldan, who is unmarked and can't score inside the box. And not even like the goalie had to make a nice save.
No, right. He took a touch, beat a defender who laid himself down on the ground, and
then hit it right at the goalie.
All he has to do is hit the net.
Yes, and he hit it right at the goalie. And then the ball fell to Ricardo Pepe. Now, I get this one could be harder because he's going backwards because the goalie made a save. So he's starting to backpedal just in case he has to, recover for defense. And the ball kind of comes to him, so he kind of toe poke lunges at it. That one I understand being not as easy, but even that's right at the goalie. Then the ball falls to Christian, and he makes no mistake, and it's just so composed, so easy, and he makes it look like there's not even a player on the field when he puts it into the net.
And the thing that's frustrating for me is when other players can't do that, right? So Christian Roldan, Ricardo Pepe, they both miss those, right? Pepe has been missing lots of chances. Ferrera's been missing lots of chances.
And this one doesn't matter. Like, I'm not saying like, it's like we're making fun of them because they didn't score a goal and Christian did. No one really scored a goal on this. We're just saying that.
Right. We're just trying to make the point that if
they're in an opportunity to score,
one chance to do it, and they didn't. And going back to the other topic, you're not hearing about this, right? Like, nobody's writing an article saying, wow, Ricardo Pepe really letting the team down by not doing his job, right? And yet, poor Pulisic is getting berated,
correct?
All over, and it's like, what else do you want from him, right? He comes in, and I think, sorry, you told me the comment. And I'll let you handle this. In light of all the Pulisic criticism, what was the comment Weston McKennie made when he was interviewed about it?
I don't know what his actual words in the interview were, but after the Canada game, I believe Weston McKennie was in some press conference. It might not have been the day of the game. It might have been, after they flew back, but it was in between the Canada and the Honduras game.
Mm-hmm.
They asked Weston McKennie how he felt about Christian Pulisic slumping and not playing well. And the only thing Weston McKennie said was, "We have to help him. We have to have his back." And basically what he's saying is, we're not helping him look good, so that's why he doesn't look good. It's not just because he's playing poorly, it's we're not helping him.
Right. Yeah, I remember when you told me that, you were like, "Hey, you got to go look this clip up." Like, Weston McKennie got this comment, and he basically said, like, it's our job to step up around him and support him because we haven't been supporting him to play to his strengths or something like that. And it's so true, and it gives me so much more respect for a player like Weston McKennie, who had the ability to sort of deflect the question, right? He could have said, we're all professional players. We all go through slumps. Christian's a great guy. I love having him on my team. He's going to bounce back, blah, blah,
Correct.
blah, a lot on his mind. And sort of deflected the question. And instead, he was like, don't ask me that. Like, don't bash one of my guys. That's my boy. He's on my team. And I got his back.
And I do think he's right, though, because even if Christian is playing poorly, right? Even let's just say that we're wrong and he's just playing absolutely terribly, right?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean the rest of the team can't try to help him, right? Like, if you have a guy that's playing poorly, like, yeah, okay, Christian hasn't scored in a while. His last goal was against Mexico, right? Okay, I get it. He's struggling. But help him then. Get him the ball where he wants the ball.
Right.
Let him have chances. And I think that's all Weston McKennie was trying to say, was like, it doesn't matter if he's playing bad or not. We need to help him by letting him do what he wants to do.
Right. Right.
And I think that's big from a guy that isn't even considered to wear a captain band, who I think has looked like the U.S.'s best player for the last 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, and he's definitely, what did the media call him? Like the commentators say, like a spirit animal or something?
He's the spirit animal for the U.S., and I think he is.
I mean, he does. He carries that banner on the field. His personality inspires other players. And even in this game, I could hear him through the microphone saying, like, "Nice job, so-and-so," or like, "Way to win that ball," or like, "Let's get it up," or "Bring it back." So he's definitely got a voice, and he's pretty vocal. I know you were excited about his counterpart playing in the midfield over there, right? So Yunus Musa takes a break, and we see for I think the second time, but like the first big performance, right?
He had only played 13 minutes.
right? So he came in as a sub. This is his first big start.
And he plays the whole game.
And I know that you were, so I'll let you go because you talked about him a lot. I was impressed. I know you were. I'm getting that out there before you go into this. I was very impressed.
Okay, so the one thing I want to say, this is about his actual physical appearance. To me, he looks like young Lionel Messi, and I made that comment. Now, that doesn't mean anything about how he plays.
Yeah, you were just talking, literally, he physically looks like.
That's what he looks like to me. He played unbelievable. He was great defensively. There was a couple of times where he stripped Honduran players from the ball near our box, and then not even minutes later, seconds later, he's standing near the opposing team's box with the ball at his feet.
Right.
And this isn't just early in the game. This is throughout the whole game. He does this in the beginning. He does this late in the second half, which means and I get he's a midfielder. They run all over the place. I get that. But still, to be able to do it that fast, that late in the game, unbelievable. His touches were great. I don't think he probably turned the ball over a couple of times because it happens throughout a game. But I can't remember one time where that man turned the ball over where I was like, oh boy, we're in trouble.
I don't recall a chance that he lost the ball like in possession. You know what I mean? Like he didn't carry the ball up and try to beat somebody and get stripped. Like
Correct.
He hit balls through into the box that got picked off. I think it was like 1 or 2 of them. But most of his chances, like you were saying, he took the ball and he attacked with it. And when he attacked with it, it worked really well with the tactics that the U.S. was going for. So Torre would get the ball, he would gain the attacking half of the field, and then he would make that slight cut in, right? And when he cuts into the field, he's got a bunch of options now, right? And I know this is something you and I haven't talked about. We talk about it in person, but we haven't talked about on the podcast, right? So he cuts in. Now he's got a through ball to Pepe, if Pepe winds up being open, right? He can lay the ball off to Weston McKennie and go to switch the field, right? He can go over the top to Morris or Pulisic, right, to our left winger, or he can hit a through ball to Weah or play the line to Weah. And we saw a lot him going down the line to Weah, and it was nasty. And this is also a credit to Tim Weah. They tore it up on that side of the field.
Correct. And I, like I said, I didn't know anything about this guy other than like his name and that he's obviously on our team. And he plays over in the Netherlands, I believe.
Yep, he plays in the Netherlands.
So obviously, like, he's playing overseas. He's going to be decent. But he was probably the second best player in that game. Now, I would give him the man of the match if Weston McKennie wasn't in there.
Agreed.
Because
if you don't have Weston McKennie in there, I think he's the most outstanding player that we have.
Weston McKennie set the tone. He came out and he got that early goal for the U.S., and I think that set the U.S. is done mucking around. We're going for it.
Right. And when you think about the other midfielders that we have in there, right, the substitution, pulling Weston McKennie out is smart, right? You're already winning the game.
Don't let him get hurt. It's cold.
It's
get
cold.
Him out.
The other team's getting choppy because they're already knocked out. It's getting out of hand. And I'm gonna keep touching on this subject, of the media subject. And the original episode of this podcast, I told everybody this has irked me my whole life, and I'm gonna not dwell on as much as I did in the last episode. Kellen Acosta played a good game, right? I mean, I even think he played a great game.
Correct.
Very early in that match, we heard Stuart Holden say Kellen Acosta is like holding the team together, or just like really, playing great, playing all over the place. We were way too early in the game to have a comment like that made about somebody who's that mediocre. And I'm not saying that by the end of the game, Kellen Acosta didn't deserve that. There's this real bias towards MLS players and the U.S. Soccer Federation. And I don't think it's fair to U.S. Soccer, and I don't think it's fair to the MLS players, right? Because Kellen Acosta should be praised because he played a great game.
Correct. Not because he plays in the MLS.
He's the one guy who plays in the MLS, right? Walker Zimmerman should be praised because he played a great game, not because he plays in the MLS, right? And continuing with this trend, the reason it's so confusing to me, and you and I talked about this, is 5 years ago, when we don't qualify for the World Cup, and we look at that qualifying campaign, Michael Bradley could have had one of the worst games of his life. And the media would be talking about how other players got to get him involved, and other players got to play to his tactics, and other players got to do this, and he's the backbone of the team, and all this stuff. And here we are now, and the United States is dominant in possession, right? With 72% of the possession in this game. We had
73, I believe.
73. It's 67 or something like that in the Canada game, right?
Correct.
We're outmanning players, right? If you didn't watch the Canada game, go back and rewatch it. And when you watch it, I want you to tell me if it was even tough. Like, was it even a hard choice to figure out which team was more physical when it came to winning the ball in one-to-one duels? Because like Ryan had said, we stripped the ball from everybody, and it wasn't just a Canada game, right? We stripped the ball from them in the Honduras game.
Even the El Salvador game.
And even the El Salvador game. So we are now at a point where it's exciting to watch U.S. soccer, right? We are seated second in the table. I think you and I talked earlier. If we have to lose all three of these matches. Costa Rica is going to have to win or win two and draw us, right? So if we go loss, draw, and Costa Rica goes win, draw, we could be in trouble. 5 years ago, we were looking at having to win out the rest of the time, and we were playing against teams like Trinidad and Tobago and like another nobody, right? So I want to just be able to sit down and talk about the players, right? And not have to deal with any stuff. Not have to deal with this like apparent small man mentality. Like, I don't think the U.S. thinks we're the little guys. I think Greg Berhalter has a plan. Do I always agree with his plan? No. But
no one will.
But look at the difference from the first set of guys, right? We didn't play this well in the fall in that first set, right? And we got results though, right? So we would win, like Honduras goes up 1-0 and then we come back, we make some subs, we go up 4-1. This game that we just played was so much better than that last game.
Correct.
That last game, you and I at halftime, I was mad. I was like, here we go again. Here comes another World Cup qualifying cycle where our guys can't get it together. I don't even remember those games. Sorry, I know I said a lot, but I guess I'll ask you this then. What do you like think about now compared to that early qualifying cycle? What's changed?
Just possession and strength in the midfield. I think Weston McKennie has come into his own, and I think he's built a relationship with the other midfielders, and he's really cemented his position of I run the midfield, and it is helping the U.S. When we can control the ball through the midfield and take it away from our opponent in the midfield, it leads to more opportunities. So, our most recent game, right? Even the Canada game, if we look, we had 13 shots, right? Canada had 7. The pass accuracy for us was in the 80s. For Canada's in the 60s. Canada's struggling to get the ball knocked around. We're not.
Yeah, I mean, 80% pass accuracy is insane. I mean,
Like,
you think about that, that's you're missing 1 out of every 5 passes. I remember, I mean, again, 5 years ago, that was the number of passes we would connect in a row. 1 out of 5. Here
Correct.
we are playing against,
And then against Honduras, okay, we have 86% pass accuracy. Honduras has 59. That just that could just be Honduras is playing terrible balls, or it's shows our midfield, right?
Yeah, and to
like if they can't go anywhere with the ball,
right.
Okay, El Salvador had 73. That's pretty good.
That's good.
We also weren't as strong in the midfield that game as I thought we were against Canada and Honduras. But we had 89% pass accuracy.
You did, and another thing that goes into this, do you have the total passes?
Yeah, so in the Honduras game, it's 480.
Right, so you think about passing accuracy, it's one thing to have passing accuracy of 85% and you made 100 passes, right? It's
Correct.
Another thing to have a passing accuracy of 85% and have 400 and something passes. How many passes did we have? How many passes did Canada have?
In the Canada-U.S. game, the U.S. had 550 passes and we had 80% accuracy.
Okay, and what about Canada?
Canada only had 312 passes at 67% accuracy.
Right, so the disparity there is so much bigger than anybody wants to give credit for. And
like you can't say we didn't dominate that game, yet we had 550 passes.
Right. And I was talking to Dad and a couple of friends about it, and the comment was really simple, right? If you've played soccer and you've been in any kind of a competitive game, I'm not talking like at a professional level, just any kind of a competitive game, then you've been that player that has walked off the field and gone, holy crap, how did we lose that game?
Correct.
Right? I mean, I played a game in high school against Whitney Point. It's a really, really small town team, and we outshot Whitney Point 31-0. And we tied because we didn't score. Whitney Point never had the ball in our half of the field, right? This is another game. Like you look at this game, Matt Turner is on the sideline in a blanket trying to stay warm, right? Sometimes you just have those games. I mean, you think about hockey games, right? There are hockey games where you get outshot 31-6 and you win 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always bounce your way. If we're going to look at U.S. soccer through the lens of results and just bash people to get clickbait and FaceTime, then we're not helping the culture, right?
Yeah. So I have a question. This is just a question for you. So going into this set of 3 games, if I was to tell you the U.S. was playing 2 teams at the bottom of the bracket and the number 1 team in the division, and we came away with 6 points, and you don't know who any of the teams are, would that be good results for you?
I absolutely love this question. And before I answer it, I just want everyone who's listening to think about that for a second. Go back to 5 years ago.
Don't even go back to 5 years ago.
Go to any of them. Believe
we're playing the number one team,
and then 2 teams in the bottom 3.
And we come away with 6 points.
Because I bet.
Are you happy?
I'm stoked, and the reason I'm stoked is because I'd be hoping for 7 points, right? And obviously everybody would be, but I
then
guarantee.
You say, and then if I say we're playing the number 1 team on the road,
right? And my brain goes, if you can get a point in the Azteca, then you did your job. And the reality was we weren't. Okay, so on one hand, I like your question because why are we complaining? You played the
Correct.
number one team in the group, and you lost. Like, that's a tough game, right? If you look back, the last 2 times we played Canada, we beat them handedly both times,
Well,
right?
except the other qualifier was
The other
tied.
qualifier was a draw, but the 2 wins that we had before that were pretty handedly. So we have
You
a
know, beat
draw,
them 1-0 and then 4-1.
right? So we have a draw, and then we have this frustrating 1-0 loss, right? Technically it's 2-0, but it's this frustrating
Yeah.
1-0 loss.
Yeah,
So,
just like Canada beat El Salvador 2-0. It's basically they beat them 1-0 and then
and they had the exact same goal. It was literally the exact same goal. 95th minute, a guy got hit on a breakaway because El Salvador was pressing really high. And if you didn't watch that game, that first goal that Canada scored was super
you need to
weird.
watch.
So
yeah, you'll never see a goal like that ever again.
And this is another big picture problem, is if you're not watching these other games, it's not as clean as you think it is. Jamaica's had a lot
struggled.
of games where they almost won.
Yeah, and Canada
a lot of them
struggled against El Salvador.
Right, the Mexico game, that penalty is a soft call.
Yeah, I don't think. Mexico's let's not talk about that.
No, but I'm saying, like, Mexico's had red cards in lots of their games. There's a lot more going on, and when you look at U.S. soccer, if the end result of this campaign is to qualify for the World Cup,
and we do that, why does it matter?
Exactly, because the reality is the game plan. Like, Greg Berhalter has a tough job. He has to do 2 things at the same time, maybe even 3. 1, he has to qualify for the World Cup. 2, he has to develop a squad that is going to be able to compete in the World Cup. And 3, he has to teach them a tactic that is going to work a year from now, not right now. And you and I talked about that a little bit last week. Canada is excited for that win. They picked a strategy. It worked, right? How many of us remember when we played against Belgium and Tim Howard had like 13 saves, right? We didn't win that game, but we didn't, right? Now we should have, and I'm not going to. We don't need to talk. He had a birthday recently, so I didn't wish him a happy birthday because that's the first thought that I had was But when you think about that game, though, it wasn't like we watched it going, "Wow, the United States is dominating." We watched it like edge of our seat, fingers in our mouth, like.
Tim Howard has kept us in the game.
Right? Is this going to work? Like, we blocked so many shots. Like, can we just pull this out? Because at that moment, it's what we needed to do to get done. But if you're looking at U.S. soccer as a program, right, I want to look at games like this with Anthony Robinson overlapping, playing this 4-3-3 where our midfielders rotate in this triangle and play centrally and push up, and our wingers attack, and we overload the flanks, and we get the ball in the box and we get chances. And we did that against Honduras, and we did it handedly, right? Yeah. And if anybody thinks we looked a little bit sloppier in the midfield, it's because we actually didn't have the ball as much in the midfield, because in the Canada game, we were indecisive. We brought the ball up, we got it to the top of the box, we brought it back into the midfield. Saw a lot more work from McKinney and Moose and them, and Adams. In this game, once we got the ball to the top of the box, we went, hey, Acosta's swinging it in, so maybe I should swing it in. And we wound up with a lot more opportunities to win the ball in transition. That's why Honduras' passing accuracy is pretty high. That's why their possession was what it was. But there wasn't quality in it, right? I loved this game. I loved that we could pretty much put anybody in this roster, and it's working, right? Yeah. Guys are scoring goals. I didn't think Jordan Morris had a great game, and I didn't think Ricardo Pepi had a great game. But the disclaimer to that is that I also don't think they had bad games. We went to Tim Weah because it was working.
Correct.
Tim
and it's
Weah
been
was
working
dominating.
like every game.
It has. And so those 2 players now have to adjust themselves to, where do I need to be when Weah plays the ball in? Because what you saw, Weah played the ball in the box a lot of times. Morris and Pepe were in there. They just couldn't quite figure out where the ball was going to be, and so they're in the wrong spot each time. Right, Pepe just behind a defender. We saw that chance really early in the ball from Acosta, right, where the ball's behind him and he hits it with his left foot and it goes over the crossbar. Pepe is capable of doing it. He just needs the confidence. And I don't think, this is just my opinion, I don't think the confidence is going to come from him scoring goals. I think
I don't think
it's going to come from him just doing
flailing
it, right?
arm. I don't think the flailing arm to his nose at the beginning of the game and giving him the bloody nose helped either.
No, he got crunched pretty hard. I mean, I thought that was a foul. And going forward, I know you and I talk about refereeing a lot. I'm just bracing everybody. This next game against Mexico is going to be a disaster as far as refereeing goes.
We think.
The fans are always horrible. I mean, and I'm not going to say every fan in the stadium, right? So hear me out. Obviously, not every fan in that stadium is horrible. Obviously, not every Mexican fan is horrible. I watched the USA-Mexico game in Columbus in the Mexico section, talked to a ton of fans, and had a blast. I learned a lot about the Mexican team from them. But there's going to be garbage thrown on the field, right? The Mexican team is going to be the Mexican team. They're going to, if they get an early goal, there's going to be a lot of flopping and laying around on the field. The coach is going to do what the coach does. So from a U.S. perspective, I like where we are. We can outpossess a team. What happens when you outpossess a team? You dictate the pace of play. You
Correct.
dictate the tempo. And like you said, with a guy like Weston McKennie, right, dictating the tempo, isn't that what you want to see?
Yeah, and I do want to see that, but I also want to see the U.S. go in there without this sense of revenge. Because if you remember the last game, there was a lot of shenanigans that happened in it that the U.S. players seemed to react a little aggressively to. And if we go into the game with that fresh, and it could backfire on us. It could hurt us more than it will help us. I'm hoping the U.S. goes into the game as we're going into the Azteca. We're playing Mexico. Doesn't matter what they've done in the past. Let's play this game to our play style. Play the ball in the midfield the way we want to. Possess the ball. Outplay them. Get an early goal. And then just frustrate Mexico.
Agreed. And it's the same mentality that you and I talked about right before the Honduras game, right? Because I made the comment to you, this game might be different because Honduras is at the bottom of the bracket and they don't have a shot. And you said that's a dangerous thought to have because they have nothing to lose. And the United States walked out on that field and did exactly what they needed to do. And if you think that that's just like something we can just blow over, it's not. We could have gone out in the field and Greg Berhalter could have played some nonsense lineup. We could have saw DeAndre Yedlin come back in. We could have seen like Acosta play up front. We could have had Areola and Leggett.
Leggett could have been, yeah.
Right. We could have done a bunch of nonsense, and Greg Berhalter didn't do any of that. We put the guys in that we needed, and we got the job done, and we got it done early. We scored a goal in the 7th or 8th minute. We put the game away. We possessed the ball. We pressed the ball. We did not let up all game, and we did it clinically. We made it look good. I agree. When we go against Mexico, it's the same thing, right?
Correct.
Yes, we have the confidence that we've beaten them the last 2 times that we've played them, and that's great, right?
Last 3 times.
The last 3 times, you're right. Yes, we know that it's going to be the way that it is, but we also have Weston McKennie on the field, and he is such a different personality when games get like that because he doesn't let it get out of hand. He sticks up for his teammates. He gets involved in the scrums, but not like we used to see. Not like guys throwing fists and yelling at each other and pushing, right? Like you saw a little bit of that with Acosta, right? Putting his hand up and pushing somebody, although I think Acosta still does it the right way, right? He was getting stepped on and the Honduras guys chirping at him. But I agree with you. When we look forward to these games, it just has to be one game at a time. What do we have to get done? Because if you win that Mexico game, and I know you got it pulled up. I think I had it pulled up too. If you win the Mexico game, what do we go to? We go to 24
We go to
points?
24.
Okay, at 24 points, the only team that can catch you is, well, I guess Panama and Costa Rica could both catch you, right? But
so here's the big thing. If we win that first game and go to 24, the only way we don't make the World Cup, and I'm going to put that in quotes because like if you finish in the top 4, you kind of make it, right? Because that 4th place team gets to do a playoff. Costa Rica would need 8 points.
And Costa Rica plays Canada and us.
And the only way to get 8 points is to win every game. Because you can't win draw because that's only 7.
Right, you have to win all the games.
So if we win one game, we're forcing Costa Rica to have to win out for us to not make it.
Which also means after the 24th, if we beat Mexico and Canada beats Costa Rica, it's almost a lock.
No, it is.
Because
unless you're considering the playoff not a lock.
Right. Well, and obviously, oh my gosh, I don't want to think about that, but like, right, it would be basically a lock, right? Because then if we beat Mexico, we literally we could draw Panama and we're definitely locked, right? So
Panama has Honduras next, which
Yep.
let's say they get 3 points.
Panama looked rough against a couple of these other teams early
Right.
on.
So let's just say both best case scenarios for each team. We beat Costa Rica, or we beat Mexico because that's who we play next.
Mhm.
Right. And Panama beats
Honduras.
So that's Panama goes to 20, we go to 24. So it's 25. Well, we'll say Canada wins. So it'll be 28, 24, 21, 20. We're 4 points ahead of Panama.
And that's who we're going to play next.
Yes, that's who we play after that, meaning if we draw Panama, we are guaranteed through.
Correct.
So if we beat Mexico and draw Panama, we make the top 3 regardless of what happens.
Right, and for the record, Mexico has the easiest route out of the top 4 teams. They're going to play us, and then they're going to play Honduras, and then El Salvador. Costa Rica has one of the hardest ones, playing Canada, us, and then, where's this other game? And then it's right here in front of me. Us and, I'm blanking, Canada. And then, El Salvador. And then it's Panama. Panama also has a hard route because they have to play us and Canada and Honduras.
Jamaica.
And Honduras, yeah. So Panama and Costa Rica are in the exact same boat. They have a team in the bottom third that's knocked out and doesn't have a chance of getting in, but then they have to play the top 2 teams. And so while it's not guaranteed, right? Like it's not going to be a perfect, clean route to us getting there. It's certainly very difficult for the United States to not make it at this point. Even if we only get a point in the Azteca, which if you ask me, like, what would I be happy with? I obviously want to win, right? I want to beat Mexico in the Azteca.
Correct.
And we did the last time, right? So this was like the first time in a long time that we've won in the Azteca, and it was huge. I believe we can do it again. I believe this team can definitely do it, especially given that the Mexican roster that it is and the striker that might be out. We're going to have to hear back on that soon. But knowing that, even a point in the Azteca is going to make me happy because a point there keeps us the same, and then you're looking at every draw from there hurts the team chance that you're playing into, right?
Yeah.
We're above them.
A win or a draw keeps us in second place.
When you're above the team trying to catch you, they can't afford to draw you because then they don't make up any points.
Correct.
So as long as we just don't lose, then it's not going to matter. And not that I think that's a good mentality, and I don't think we'll play with it. I think we're going to go out to win every game. I'm excited.
A big thing that I think should be worth mentioning is that Canada's basically in. Right?
Right.
25 points. They're sitting at the top of the table. They've won their last 5. Their next game in the next set of 3 is against Costa Rica, who is fighting much harder for a spot than Canada. And the last time these 2 teams played, Canada only won 1-0, and it was in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
This game is in Costa Rica.
And Canada is indefinitely out Alphonso Davies.
Yeah.
Alphonso Davies is most likely going to miss the rest of the qualifying cycle.
But this game is in Costa Rica for a team that basically must win. And not even basically, it is a must win for Costa Rica. They cannot afford a draw.
Right.
So take that into mind when it's Canada who's basically in against a team that has to win.
Right. If Canada gets soft.
And if Canada loses,
we have a shot at pushing ourselves up into the number 1 spot.
Well, because think about it. If Canada loses and we win, we're 1 point behind them.
Right. And then if Canada draws and we win.
And Canada's got to play Panama and Costa Rica.
Right.
So if they lose to Costa Rica, there's a solid shot they don't beat Panama. Now I get that one's in Panama. And that's the last game they play Panama. That could be a huge game for Panama.
It could be.
So
it could be. I mean, this was an exciting cycle. I'm not. Looking back on these 3 games,
I'm happy about it.
Right. So let's think. Final thoughts here as we wrap this up. Think back on this window. Final 3 games. What did you like in the final 3 games? What do we need to see improvement on going into the next three? One, just real quick, one thought apiece.
What I liked is the U.S.'s ability to retain possession of the ball and just hold on to it and not let the opposing team dictate play. So we kept the ball in the midfield, we kept the ball in our defensive zone, and basically said, "You're going to play the way we want you to play, and there's nothing you can do about it."
Mm-hmm.
Thing I would like to see improve, which did improve in the last game, is just creating those deadly scoring opportunities and making them count. And in that game against Honduras, we did that. We created a lot of golden opportunities to score, and we scored on 3 of them. So
I agree. I would say that like the same thing over this last 3 games. I've just been really impressed at how much the team has continued to come together, how we've continued to be able to play the same tactics despite who was on the field, right? So it sort of goes along with what you were saying. We're possessing the ball in the midfield, we're attacking up the flanks, but we're doing it no matter who's on the field. And I think everyone is in agreement here. They just word it a little bit differently, and I like the way that you worded it. I'm not let's go get more goals in the future, right? I'm with you. Let's create more chances, and let's do that by having the confidence to play the ball into the box, because and this is not, if you're unfamiliar with soccer tactics, this isn't changing the tactics. The current structure we're playing is designed to go wide, overload the wings, knock the ball into the corner, and deliver the ball across the box. We just got to get that last part. And we saw in the Honduras game, like you said, when we did it, it worked. It was dangerous. It punished them. We scored a lot of goals. So those are my thoughts going forward. And I think we can do it.
Let's talk about throwing Christian off of set pieces.
Yeah. I honestly, yeah.
I think he's better in the box with the ball coming to his feet on a set piece than he is delivering the set piece.
He is. I think so, too. I think Kellen Acosta really showed. And this is, if you haven't been paying attention, this is not just this game. Kellen Acosta has had very dangerous set pieces through all of qualifying. You're going back September. And even in the Gold Cup, especially against Mexico, a lot of our chances in the Mexico games were dictated by Kellen Acosta. So, and I know we'll talk about this more in the upcoming weeks, I would not be surprised if Kellen Acosta started against Mexico. Like, I sort of want to start him against Mexico because of his history against that team and how well
De La Torre.
Right. I would 100% start De La Torre. So 100%. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Ryan, it's been great. It's been great chatting with you.
As always.
Guys, just stay positive and keep watching us. I had another random thought that I was going to say, but it eludes me here, and I'm sure we'll get to it. So it's exciting to watch U.S. soccer. It's exciting to get to see it and get to talk about it. We appreciate you guys tuning in and giving us a listen. Go ahead, hit a like, get some comments. We'd love to get some interaction from viewers. We're starting to see views pick up. So
should the Mexico thing been a penalty?
Right. Yeah. Tell us, what do you think about that? How do you feel about other goals? How do you feel about other teams? What do you think's going on in CONCACAF right now? What do you like? Do you not like us? Do you like us? It is what it is. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will catch you guys in the next couple weeks.